The old asylum crouched atop a forsaken hill, a brooding specter against the moonless sky. Its shattered windows peered out like hollow eye sockets, telling tales of unspeakable horrors that had unfolded within. It was an abode of dread, where shadows whispered sinister secrets to the wind. Sarah, a paranormal investigator with a heart dauntless as the abyss, felt inexorably drawn to the asylum's morbid allure. Armed with her cameras and voice recorders, she arrived one fateful evening, a time when darkness wore its darkest cloak. As she breached its crumbling defenses through a shattered window, the asylum's fetid breath wrapped around her, like the cold grip of death itself. She could feel history's weight bearing down upon her shoulders. The hours wore on, and the asylum's morose whispers grew stronger. Her recording devices caught spectral voices, wailing for salvation. "Help us!" they implored, voices dripping with sorrow and despair. The room's temperature plunged as if it sought refuge in the abyss, and Sarah's breath manifested in spectral plumes. Shadows danced in her peripheral vision, elusive and unsettling. Panic clawed at her heart as she sought to flee, but the asylum had other designs. The door that had so willingly yielded entrance now clung to its frame, imprisoning her within a web of malevolence. Her trembling hands fumbled for her keys in vain. The tormented souls grew more vocal, their whispers transmuting into a symphony of anguish. "You can never leave," they hissed, their words reverberating through the corridors of despair. Sarah stumbled upon a chamber adorned with graffiti, their anguished scrawlings narrating a gruesome tale of agony and torment. "Unspeakable things they did to us," one inscription revealed. "The pain knows no end," cried another. At the room's end, she encountered her own name etched upon the wall, alongside today's date. Terror washed over her, and she knew she was ensnared within the asylum's sinister design. Her breath caught as a frigid hand clamped down upon her shoulder, and a voice, hollow and bereft of humanity, rasped, "Join us, Sarah." She turned to find a spectral figure, its eyes vacant abysses. It reached out, and darkness swallowed her whole. Sarah's fate remains a haunting enigma. Some claim her ghost still roams the asylum, her whispers serving as a foreboding prelude to those who dare trespass. Others believe she merged with the tormented spirits, forever consigned to relive their agonies. The asylum, a wretched relic of cruelty and despair, loomed over the town like a malevolent deity. Amongst the myriad horrors whispered in hushed tones, one name invoked dread above all: the unseen patient. Mike, a historian whose curiosity bordered on obsession, delved into the asylum's sinister annals. Records of the unseen patient, a figure hidden from official documents, fueled his relentless quest for truth. With the moon concealing its pallid face, Mike, armed only with a flashlight and unwavering curiosity, breached the asylum's crumbling defenses. Decay hung in the air, a shroud of foreboding. Guided by his research, Mike found himself before the forbidden chamber, the place where the unseen patient had been subjected to unspeakable horrors. He pushed the creaking door, and its rusty hinges groaned in protest. Dim light unveiled the room caught in the throes of time. Esoteric symbols and incantations adorned the walls, testimony to the sinister rituals once enacted. Fear gripped him as he comprehended the magnitude of his revelation. In a shadowed corner stood a figure, its back turned. Clad in a tattered hospital gown, its pallid skin seemed to glow eerily. Mike's voice quivered as he spoke, but no reply came. Suddenly, the room plunged into inky darkness, and icy fingers clamped onto his flesh. Panic surged as he sought his flashlight, and its beam revealed nothing but emptiness. In the Stygian blackness, the unseen patient's voice slithered into his mind, promising eternal torment. "You should not have come," it whispered, words like shards of ice piercing his soul. The walls seemed to bleed, dark tendrils snaking across the floor. Mike realized, in terror, that he had unwittingly unshackled a malevolent force, a presence imprisoned for decades. In a desperate bid for salvation, he recited an ancient incantation unearthed in his research. As the words left his quivering lips, blinding light erupted, dispelling the darkness. The asylum convulsed as the malevolent force was expelled, its anguished cries fading into the night. Mike collapsed, exhausted and terrified, but he had survived. Mike's life was forever altered that night, but the unseen patient's malevolence lingered within the asylum's decaying walls. Some say the enigmatic figure he had encountered that night still prowls the corridors, awaiting the next curious soul to cross its path. The old asylum concealed a sordid history, its darkest secrets buried beneath layers of time and decay. Nurse Abigail had been one of the few caretakers who had shown genuine compassion for the patients. She had borne witness to the unspeakable horrors that unfolded within its walls, vowing to expose the truth. The asylum was infamous for its cruel and corrupt staff, who reveled in unspeakable acts of mistreatment. Abigail's unwavering determination to unveil the truth had made her a target, and she soon found herself falsely accused of patient abuse, a crime she had never committed. Condemned to a cold, dimly lit cell, Abigail's pleas for justice fell upon deaf ears. The corrupt staff had ensured her voice would remain unheard. For years, she languished in the shadows, her spirit consumed by anger and despair. Decades later, a group of urban explorers ventured into the abandoned asylum, captivated by the eerie echoes of a nurse's footsteps that reverberated through the halls, a ghostly remnant of the past. As they delved deeper into the asylum's heart, Abigail's spectral presence guided them, revealing hidden secrets and the horrifying truth of her unjust incarceration. She whispered to them in the darkness, leading them to long-forgotten documents that detailed the staff's atrocities. The explorers unearthed evidence of the abuse and the staff's malevolent conspiracy. As they prepared to depart, Abigail's spirit manifested in blinding radiance, her eyes burning with unquenchable determination. In her ethereal form, Nurse Abigail confronted the descendants of the corrupt staff. Her voice carried a chilling rage as she pronounced a curse that would ensure the staff's descendants paid for the sins of their forebears. The descendants fled in terror, their faces contorted by fear. They knew escape from the vengeful nurse's wrath was impossible. The asylum, once a place of torment and darkness, became a battlefield for the restless dead. That fateful night, Nurse Abigail's spirit finally found a measure of peace, her mission to reveal the truth and exact vengeance fulfilled. Yet her curse lingers across time, punishing those who had wronged her and serving as a grim reminder of the asylum's malevolent legacy.